Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to Financial Lovemaking, where we talk about love, life, money, and everything in between. I'm here with
Proud.
with
I'm a lifestyle expert
lifestyle
and licensed therapist.
lifestyle. I'm being
Listen,
silly.
we're gonna let this title thing go because Boyce gets so much pleasure out of stumbling over it every time we record. I don't know. Guys have like weird fetishes. I think this is a new one for him.
I know. Lifestyle expert and licensed therapist. S.
Right,
T.
right.
Brown. There we go.
Boom. See how
Even
beautiful that is?
even I can get that right. Yeah, well, and I like and I think the licensed therapist thing is important because you got a whole lot of people out here giving advice on relationships and family and all that who don't have any certification whatsoever. And that bothers me. I hate that. I hate that. You actually
Well, I'm
work.
happy to please you. That's what
Yes.
I'm here for. As a woman, it's my job, right? To
Well,
make
I
men
mean,
happy.
it's about damn time you figured that out. About damn time.
Joking. These men are
Oh, yeah, you
crazy.
are such a hater. You know what? Okay, so you were telling me this morning about Sherri Shepherd, and she's finally being asked to pay the piper for that baby she signed up for.
Speaking of sexism, right, we'll jump right into it. A lot of people are wondering whether, this is Sherri Shepherd being punished. Reverse sexism, maybe. Like she's the woman, she should want to be the mom. For you guys who don't know, Sherri Shepherd, who was on The View, actress, stand up comic. She was married to, I believe his name was Lamar Sally Sr. for just a short period of time. I want to say less than 3 or 4 years. And right as they were about to have a baby together via surrogate, he filed for divorce. So the big question became, is she liable legally to parent this child, financially, emotionally, all those good things? And Sherri was the breadwinner in this relationship. Over the
mm,
past few months, people have been, in the court of public opinion saying yay or nay, and the court has finally made a decision, and they say yes, she is legally liable to financially parent this child, and it's a baby boy. So the question is now, will she be an active co-parent in his life? And just for clarity, that this baby is not biologically Sherri's. It is a baby that was conceived via surrogate. I believe it's her ex-husband's sperm, but not her egg. Sherri has an older child who she has full custody of, but her soon-to-be ex-husband, or her ex-husband Sally, has custody of this baby. And one of the big things is when he filed for divorce, he also filed for full custody of this baby. Sherri said that this was all done just to get money from her because they weren't married for a significant portion of the time. So she felt she was manipulated.
well,
Unfortunately, the baby's here, regardless of the circumstance under which, the parents are under. And now he needs to be loved. And that's the big thing. So the question is, was it fair? Some people say yes, some people say no. But we know for certain this baby needs an active parent. And Sherri's the mom. So we'll see what she decides to do.
well, I'm going to read something here that I found on Time.com. Quote: there was some additional evidence put on the record involving some video clips involving Miss Shepherd, said Craig Bluestein, a legal representative for the baby.
Mhm.
And I thought that was so interesting because now the baby was like, "Y'all crazy? I need to get my own lawyer."
Yeah, I
So,
mean, and this happens in cases where you want to determine what's in the best interest of the child. All right,
hmm
you have a representative for the baby, so that's not crazily shocking. But some people will say, historically, men have been the providers, and when these things happen, and the woman is the one saying that they want financial support, it's not an issue. But when it's the man saying the woman was the provider, again, we talked about this before. Bethany Frankel, Candy Burris, that came up on Real Housewives of Atlanta when she wanted to do the prenup. There are cases now when women are making a lot more money than their mates, and if the relationship has an issue, and it dissolves, the men are coming after the pockets.
isn't this Sherry Shepherd's second divorce?
It is her second divorce. She has a small son with her ex-husband, and I'm not going to vilify her. Sometimes relationships work and sometimes they don't. I don't think that if she had a string of divorces, we would say, oh, is this a major issue? But she's a woman of a certain age. People get married and divorced. She's spoken out, very candidly about her former relationship, and we really saw a part of Sherri's journey with Sally via kind of like reality shows, because she had friends like Niecy Nash and other people who were filming, and she talked about her relationship on The View. So I think there's a certain level of sincerity there with people wanting relationships to work. Now, what her coping skills and her interpersonal actions were like, we don't know. The biggest thing now is that both of these people have to put the baby first. The court has decided that Sherri has to pay the money. Not the greatest thing for her, obviously, because she fought it. But now you really have an opportunity to say, am I going to make lemonade out of these lemons? I wanted to be married. It didn't work out, but we still made a commitment to have this child together, and the child deserves to have access to a loving mother, to have access to an older brother, and to have parents who aren't bickering. So, of course, my suggestion is always put the child first. Even if you don't want to see your ex, you can have a person assigned to do transportation between both homes, so you don't have to even interact. But make sure you spend quality time, because a mother is a primary nurturer, just as important as the father, and the baby will get self-esteem and reassurance and life skills and life lessons from both genders. So I encourage them both to work together collaboratively, and don't make this a money thing anymore now that the money is settled. That's a hard thing to do, but it's important.
Okay, here's what I see. Now, this is Sherri's second divorce. Her previous husband went to court screaming that she's an unfit parent, that she doesn't pay much attention to the son that she has. She was on The View saying, and I want to say get the quote right, something like, "I've had a lot of abortions." And now you see this, where she's trying to abort the baby even after the baby is born. So what I see, and I hate saying it, but I see a pattern of making commitments and then trying to nullify those commitments after the fact. Basically, committing yourself to be responsible for something and then saying, "Oh, I changed my mind. I don't want to do this anymore." Um,
Wow, I think
so
that that's a huge leap to connect all those things. We know when
no,
people go to court,
I,
specifically when they
I think
want
there's a
money.
pattern there. I mean, think about that. I mean, when she remember, that was a controversial statement she made. "I've had a lot of abortions."
Right.
That
So,
means
and I do
that
remember this, and this is it's a controversial topic in general, deciding whether or not to have a child, specifically if you're in or out of wedlock. Sherri is a woman, again, of a certain age, so I want to also include that this is over the span of possibly 20 years. Now, is it a choice that some people agree with or not? Obviously, but I don't think that that means that you're a bad person because you chose not to create a family under a circumstance under which you're not prepared. I don't think
I didn't say it makes her.
connected.
I didn't say it makes her a bad person. I said
Well, I
it
don't think
makes
it
her.
makes you. I don't
I
think
said
it's
it makes
necessarily
her
a
a
bad
person.
decision. So let's clarify.
Right.
I don't think it's a bad decision.
Right. Well, I mean, they're obviously bad decisions if you're constantly trying to reverse them. I mean, in your life, if you make a decision and then you try to reverse it and nullify it, then you're de
So you're
facto
so you're saying the decision to get pregnant versus the
you're making
decision
it
to
right.
so we're talking about two different
No, no,
decisions.
no, no. We're talking about the idea of committing yourself to something, doing something that puts you in a certain space in a certain scenario, and then trying to unravel that later on, trying to redo it, trying to get a redo, right? When I mean, think about this. You got this pattern of, I declare my undying love for this person. I'm going to be with them forever. Oh wait, I changed my mind. Then I do it
And so
again.
and I think
Oh
that's
wait,
a
I changed my mind.
huge leap
No, no,
to
no.
make.
It's not a huge leap because it's a huge leap if you take any individual piece of evidence, but when you pile it all together, I've had a lot of abortions. That means that I'm doing things with my body that don't make sense. That maybe make sense when I do them, but then later on I realize, wait a minute, oops, that was a mistake. Let me go ahead and try to fix this, right? So I'm not saying there's anything wrong per se with getting an abortion. I'm not a big fan of it. It makes me uncomfortable because I don't believe in killing any baby, no matter what age the child is. It just feels awkward. But I'm a visual person. When I hear someone tell me, when my daughter told me she was pregnant, I saw the baby as a 20-year-old. I saw the baby going to college. I saw the baby, getting married. I didn't see a bunch of cells or an egg that can just be destroyed. So, but again, I'm not a person who's going to tell someone that you shouldn't get an abortion. I'm just going to say though that an abortion is a very serious decision. Stop pretending like it's not, right? And in this particular case, You've taken responsibility for raising a child. You've been on video saying, "Oh my God, I can't wait to have this baby. I'm so excited." But
Mm.
maybe you should have put the fine print in there that says, "I'm only excited because this man wants me to do it. If it wasn't for him, I'd have no interest in this baby whatsoever." If you're gonna make a decision like that, that's a commitment between you and the baby. It's not a commitment between you and Lamar Sally.
Okay, so
That's the
let me
thing. That's the
interject
thing
this here.
that bothers me.
So while I am very uncomfortable with some of the things that you're putting together, I will say this, that there is some meat there in terms of making decisions based on an emotional connection and want, and not understanding big picture responsibility, and then being reactionary and making a decision because you're hurt. Right. So this is a life lesson that people can take from this, in terms of, sometimes when we're in a relationship with someone, we make decisions in the heat of the moment because of our passion for them, because of our desire to be with them, because of our hopes of how happily ever will work out. And then, unfortunately, as they say, life happens. So when we're looking to having intimate relationships that can lead to family building, which is sex, we have to be mindful of, am I willing to take the big picture liability, which is a child or something else, finances, a lot of different things, even STDs are big picture liabilities, on my own, because I know, regardless of making this decision with the hope that things will be happily ever after, they may not be.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, um, and again, if Sherry was a man, if she were a man, I'd be harder on her if she was a guy, just because I wouldn't be running the risk of being called a sexist for what I'm
But that
saying.
to me is
I would
I
absolutely
feel people are equally liable for their decisions and for big picture
right,
consequences, having that
right.
foresight, and for children. So I'm not asking you to be more lenient on her
No,
because she's a woman at all, but I do think sometimes we connect things, and I understand what you're saying in terms of pattern building, but I think we have to be so careful with the associations we make, because we only know a piece of information
right.
about
We
these
may only
situations.
know the piece, but
Right.
the critical piece here, even if no matter what is going on in all the other spaces, the
Mhm.
critical pieces of information that we know for sure are that she has made lifetime commitments to people, and then somehow they ended up broken. And maybe it wasn't her fault. Maybe she was just unlucky.
But
And then we also know that, but at the very least, I think she would agree that she married the wrong person, right? So there's like this thing about making bad decisions, whether it's you making a decision and reversing it, or you making a decision to be with someone who's going to reverse their decision. Those are equal. Though both of those decisions are a problem. But the divorce thing is not such a bad thing. It's not like I'm going to look at her and say, "Oh, you've got divorces. That makes you bad." It's more so just sort of saying, if you really get down to the core of it all, you made a commitment to this baby. You didn't make a commitment to this man. No person in their right mind should be committed to a child only on the condition that their partner stays with them. But
and I absolutely
that's crazy to me.
agree in terms.
A man should never do something like that. I'm going to abandon my children because she left me. That's
Absolutely.
crazy. That's not. I mean, that baby is coming into this world. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's just looking around saying, "Who's my mommy?" And everybody's running in the other direction. That's trifling. That burns
I
me
agree
up.
that that is something that universally people can take issue with, and even if you feel she has a right to or she doesn't, ultimately the child is the person who's losing out, and a commitment was made to the child, and that shouldn't be impacted by your happily ever after, with your significant other. So definitely,
It
and again, just have to reiterate, we hope that both parties are able to put the child first. We've focused a lot on Sherry's responsibility to mother and interact with this child and now be financially responsible, but we also need to focus on her ex's responsibility in terms of not using this child as a pawn, not being manipulative in terms of time and punishment and anger and hurt, and really making sure that he looks at the child's overall needs. So yes, she needs to financially do her part, because she is the breadwinner.
mhm.
It is what it is. For whether you have a penis or a vagina, if you're the breadwinner, you're the breadwinner. But he also needs to do his part in terms of, like we would say for a woman, if you are able to get a job, go get a job. If you have primary custody, you need to act in a manner that is mature in terms of the child's mental health. So this is not a position that I think anyone wants to be in. And if we take the money away, unfortunately, this is a position that a lot of people are in because they say almost 50% of marriages end in divorce, and many of those marriages have children. So it's a lesson for everyone out there. Put the child first and
Yeah.
don't make commitments to have children with someone based on the happily ever after. It has to be because I am willing to make a commitment to this child for its life.
Right, I agree. I think that I wouldn't be surprised though. Also, to Sherry, to say this in favor of Sherry, I wouldn't be surprised if some of this might have been a legal strategy. Just
Mhm.
I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna make them fight for every inch. So I'm not even gonna. I'm gonna completely deny any connection to this child, just as a legal strategy to make it harder for Lamar to get what he wants. Because Lamar may be a manipulative son of a bitch. He may be trying to get money out of Sherry and all these other things that happen in court. So that I'm hoping that that's what's going on. That she's just using this as a strategy, and now that she's kind of been sucked in, she's going to take responsibility because she has to. Because I think that this case is important because it does kind of set a precedent, at least in the public eye, that kind of
Mhm.
makes us question, like, okay, should we even allow people, celebrities, to come along and buy a baby out of somebody else's womb? Because if you're going to sign up for that kind of the serious responsibility of motherhood and fatherhood, you need to be ready to do it because that baby, you're married to that baby, even if your spouse decides that they want to leave you. And I think that's what I'm getting out of this. I just feel bad for this kid. That's why you see me being so emotional because I don't want to be born without a mother because y'all too immature to handle your own business. I mean, that's tacky. It's crazy to me.
So, we hope for happiness for all parties concerned, all parties involved, Sherry, Lamar, and their little ones. So, please, please work together collectively for a new happily ever after, right? Thank you guys so much for listening. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Have a great day.